Deerfield students, Mr. Devon here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about online safety. And what is online safety? It's literally exactly what those words are, being safe online. And there are a lot of dangers that exist on the internet, and if you're not careful, you can become the victim of things like identity theft, where somebody takes your personal information and does very bad things with it, like opening credit cards and spending money that you didn't get to spend, but that you might have to pay back. Other things like getting a house or a car, or even being able to find out personal information about you and using it to actually hurt you. Okay? So we want you to be safe online with everything you're doing, whether you're on social media, operating an email account, or just browsing the web. It's very easy to get in trouble online, and so you have to be responsible for everything you do. And how do you do that? Well, you do that with a couple of things, but the main key is a thing called vigilance. Let's say that together, okay? On three. 1, 2, 3. Vigilance. Vigilance is your ability to watch out for danger. Okay? You have to constantly be vigilant online. There are going to be times where people, or what we call bots, and I'll explain that in just a moment, pretend to be someone you know, only looking to get personal information they can use against you later. So it's important to protect yourself against bots and people who are looking to do very bad things. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about bots. What are bots? Bots are computer programs that can do things automatically. Sometimes they seem like humans. A lot of bots actually seem very much like humans. If you go to the website drift.com and you go into, I don't know, sign up for an account. Well, a chatbot comes up, and a chatbot sounds like or looks like a real individual, and it communicates with you. Basically what it does is it's programmed to answer certain questions or to look for certain words or phrases and respond to it like a human. Okay? Well, there are bots that are programmed not to chat, but are programmed to do things on your social media, on your banking information, on other things that you don't want it to do. So being safe online is super important. Okay? So what other dangers exist online when it comes to safety? Well, one of the other dangers that exists out there is the danger of human trafficking. Yeah, human trafficking happens online as well. So there's a website called onlyfans.com where a lot of people post content that is not safe for work, not safe for home. Okay? Well, people who like those websites oftentimes will go to other websites looking for younger people or people who are vulnerable, people with disabilities, to take advantage of them, whether they want to use them for slavery or sex trafficking. And so this is very dangerous, but it's a big market. So that's something else that's a danger online. Another danger online is your account being hacked and used for bad purposes. Well, that's not so bad, right? You could always change your password or get another account. Well, not so fast. Getting hacked online and your account pretending to be somebody else can actually get your account shut down. So all the friends you found, all the photos you've uploaded, all of the posts you made now get erased, and you have to start from the beginning. So online safety is extremely important. There's so many dangers out there, and if you're not careful, you become a victim. Let's not be victims. Let's be victorious and safe online. So how do we remain safe online? Well, one of the first ways you remain safe online is by choosing a strong password. A password can be anywhere from a few characters to a lot of characters. What are characters? Well, I'll show you on this keyboard. You see this keyboard? All of these letters on the keyboard are characters. All the numbers are characters. All the symbols that you can type with are characters. Okay? These are characters. And a strong password has a combination of numbers, letters, and what we call special characters. Special characters like exclamation mark, question mark, period, hashtag, the @ sign, the and sign, which is also called ampersand, the % sign, underscore, hyphen or dash, slash, forward or back, and open closed brackets. Okay, you can make a password that you feel you can remember, but it's really, really strong. And a lot of websites also have a feature that tells you how strong your password is. So always use that feature. It will tell you if it's weak, moderate, or strong. Now, That's step one in being safe online, creating a strong password. The other step is making sure that whenever you go to a website, you check for certain things. Now, there is a thing on a website called an SSL certificate. That certificate makes sure that the website is real, and it also notifies you as a visitor that the website you're visiting is exactly what it says. A website cannot get an SSL certificate if it does not verify or prove that it is real. So the SSL certificate on a website is identified by a little lock icon next to the address, the web address in your browser. Just look for the little lock whenever you visit a website. If that lock is unlocked, or if it's red, or if it's crossed out, that SSL is expired or not verified. If that SSL lock is closed, if it's green, sometimes it may be gray, make sure it's closed. If that lock is closed, then that means your SSL certificate is verified. In fact, I'm going to show you a real example of a lock, just so you know exactly what I mean. And when you visit the browser, you'll be able to see it for yourself. And I'll also put an image of that up. So, if your SSL certificate if your SSL lock on the browser looks like this, that means your website isn't verified. The website itself maybe is real, but the certificate has expired or has not been completely verified. Therefore, it's telling the user the website may not be safe. If your lock is like this, it is still not secure, so your website may not be verified. But if your lock is like that, all the way closed, can't break that, can't hack that, right? That means the website is what it says it is, and the website is secure. Keep this in mind when you're visiting websites. If you go to Facebook.com, YouTube.com, Yahoo.com, Google.com, Gmail.com, RayfieldFamilyLiteracy.com, DevonDesaw.com. Am I missing any websites? Instagram.com, Twitter.com, OnlyFans. Don't go to OnlyFans. If you go to any proper website, especially very popular websites, those websites have secure SSL certificates, okay? Which tells the user that using their website, number one, the website is what it says it is, but number two, that the website is likely safe. The other thing that you want to do to be safe online is you want to make sure that whenever you are communicating online, you're communicating with people who are who they say they are. On Facebook, we have a lot of people pretending to be other accounts. And so they walk in, they sign up for an account, and then they send you a message and they say, "Hey, how are you today?" And you say, "Oh, I'm great, good to see you." You're like, "Hey, have you heard about the good news?" You're like, "That was random. All of a sudden we're talking about good news." Okay. No, I haven't heard about the good news. Then they start saying things like, "Well, the U.S. government is now offering this, that, and the other." The moment they start talking to you about what the U.S. government is offering, or signing up for something that requires a credit card, and this is supposed to be a friend, somebody you don't do this business with usually, that right there is what we call a phishing scam. So phishing scams are the type of scams where people try to find ways to appear to be real or legitimate only to take your information. Except the difference between identity theft and phishing is, with identity theft, they're actually stealing it and not getting your permission. With phishing, they make it look real and legitimate, and they send you something where you put in your information. You willingly offer your information, you respond to the message with personal details, and then they use that to do bad acts. That's the difference. In one, it's stolen, you have no control in that. And the other one, you actually end up giving your information. So verify that the people you are online talking to are who they say they are, especially on social media. Now, this phishing scam is happening across Facebook and Instagram. So when you're on social media, be very careful of who you're talking to. Make sure when you go to their account that you check for little things like, number one, look at all of their posts. What are the dates on their posts? Are all of their posts within the last year? That's a flag right there. Are all of their posts within the last month? That's a serious flag, okay? And a lot of times the posts are within the last 3 days. If that happens, then you know you probably have a phisher, okay? The other thing you could check for with phishing is look at their username. On Instagram, for example, a lot of phishing accounts have an underscore in the name, in a random place, either at the end, somewhere in the middle, maybe even at the beginning. That's a phishing account. So check that, verify it. And if you look at the date of their posts as well as their username, the two together really give you a clear idea of how much phishing is going on. So again, be very careful with phishing accounts, because once they get your information, they can do anything that they want. Now, the next way to keep yourself safe online, it's a really, really big thing. Be careful of leaving things on. Something as small as disconnecting or powering off your device or closing an app can really keep you safe online. When you're using your phone, and I'll show you the example with an iPhone. When I'm using my iPhone, I can go to any app that I pleased, right? And let's say I'm done for the time. I'm going to go to TikTok, okay? So here's TikTok, and it's loading.
I think it's high time.
There's TikTok, right? So let's say I'm in TikTok and I'm doing, I'm just watching videos. Maybe I've uploaded a video and I've sent somebody a message. Well, I'm done with TikTok, right? I'm done with TikTok for the day. So what I can do on an iPhone, if you have a newer iPhone, you see this white bar at the bottom. What I can do with that is I can swipe up. What that does is that brings up my home menu, right? With my home menu now, I can close out my TikTok app, okay? How do I do that? I am going to simply swipe up. Now the TikTok app is gone, okay? The TikTok app is gone. What that has done is that's told my iPhone to close the TikTok app. And guess what? TikTok can't steal my information for the most part. Now, there are a couple of things you could do in terms of making sure apps aren't stealing personal information, like not using location when you're not using the app. So a lot of apps now ask for your location, and you have the option of saying, you can use my location whenever, or you can use my location whenever I'm using the app. So always choose when I'm using the app, okay? A lot of apps do need your location, like Uber. It does need your location in order to pick you up. Uber Eats, apps like that, delivery apps and ride-sharing apps, they need your location to find you. So those you definitely want to use, but you'd be better off telling it to only use your location when you're using the app. And then you have apps like Google. You would think, why would Google need to know my location? Well, Google oftentimes will customize its search engine results as well as Google News updates based on your location, including the weather. While it's a great feature to have, limiting your location exposure on Google as well is important, so be very aware of that. On an Android device, the way you would do clearing an app, and I'll show you on this Android device. So on this Android device, I have opened Google Chrome, okay? Google Chrome, let's clear that. I have Google Chrome. Now, if you can see right next to falcon.io in the address bar, you see the lock that I was talking about earlier. So here it is again, that little lock that tells me that the website is what it is and that it likely is secure. But let's say I want to clear this app because I no longer want it using my location or collecting personal information. Well, on a lot of Android devices, you have these icons at the bottom. If you can see those, you see the triangle pointing to the side, you got the circle, and then you have the square, okay? What you want to do is you want to hit the square, okay? That's gonna pull the app all the way up. And the same thing like I did on the iPhone, we're gonna do here on the Android. All I'm gonna do is gonna bring my finger here, swipe up, and guess what? Chrome is now closed. Now Chrome is no longer collecting information that it would have been collecting if I did not close the app. So that's another great way to keep yourself safe online. So let's review what we talked about so far. Some of the ways to keep yourself safe online, number one, is create a strong password. Whenever you're doing anything with your personal information online, create a strong password. Number two, be sure that when you are online, to check for an SSL certificate. Look for the lock next to the address bar. Also, when you're online, keeping yourself safe is really about checking and confirming who you're talking to. Make sure you're talking to safe people. Verify by looking at their username. And then you can also search, especially if you know you have a family member that you're already following, search and make sure that you still are following them. If you are, then you know that other account that is pretending to be that family member is a fake account. Delete it, block it. Don't even accept the request. And also check their post dates. Make sure that each post happened in a normal time frame. Okay, this one happened at the beginning of the year, this one happened later in the year, this one happened last year. But if all of them are within the last month, that's a red flag. Block that account. Don't even accept it. And then also make sure aside from verifying who you're talking to, that you close apps when you're done using them, okay? On your mobile devices, use your features that allow you to minimize the windows, minimize the apps, and then swipe up to close it, okay? Now, if you're on a computer, one of the best ways to do that is on a Mac, you click the title of the program. So if I'm on Chrome, I'll click Chrome, and at the bottom of Chrome is something that says Quit Google Chrome. Go ahead and quit it if you're done, okay? Now, you're a lot safer on a computer than you are on a mobile device because the information collection isn't necessarily the same. Now, the way you would do this on the Windows is you would just go to File and then down to Quit, and then that closes it out for you, okay? But be very careful about what sorts of information you're putting out there. When it comes to information, and this is another big thing, when you have to share information, if it's not with a bank or with the government, one of the big things you want to do is you want to find ways to avoid sharing important information online that's not necessary. For example, your social security number. If you know your social security number, by heart, that's great, okay? Some sites may ask for that because you're doing some sort of financial transaction. If they say in the field that the field is optional, optional, that means you don't have to put that information. So try to use only the fields that are required, required. If you only do the fields that are required, you can still sign up, submit information, and protect yourself in other ways. If your social is required, but your address or your date of birth is not, then don't put that in. If your date of birth is required, but your social isn't, leave the social out. If they ask you on an account that you're signing up with to do your social or to do a student number, do the student number. These other options are there to help protect you because any site can get hacked. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've gotten hacked and it wasn't even my fault. What happens is the site that I signed up with got hacked. Canva.com got hacked. Several other important websites got hacked and my username and password was exposed. The mistake that I made was that I was using a weak username and password combination across multiple sites. So I maybe was using it on Canva and Photor.com as well as FanDuel.com. Now the great thing is that Google notified me, you've been hacked, you need to change your passwords. And so what I did was I created a much stronger password. But the smart thing that I did, and this is a great tip for you, is create passwords that fit the type of account you're using. If you're doing banking or serious personal information, create a password specifically for those types of accounts and make them very, very strong. Okay? Remember to use the combination of characters, numbers, and letters. Special characters, numbers, and letters. Okay? Not only that, but also be sure to change it up every once in a while. Don't keep the same password for 5 years. If you're able to do a new password once a year, do that. Maybe even every 6 months. The other thing you can do regarding passwords is, so you have a banking, important government information type password. And then let's say for your social media, maybe you have a weaker password, or it could be as strong as your banking password, but it's different because the access that people get into banking is much more secure and very different from the access in social media. So be very aware of all of that, okay? And then finally, my last tip to you is when you're online, judge everything. Judge everything. You may think it's safe or it may look legit, it may look real. Judge it. And by judging, I don't mean just look at it and say, I wonder if it's real. Click it, but don't put in your personal information. On browsers now, they have what's called incognito or browse as a guest. Use this feature to browse as a guest so that none of your personal information is being tracked or collected. Okay? This allows you to verify that a site is real. So as you're judging the site, judge it only through the browser's guest account or through the incognito tab. By doing this, you're giving yourself another layer of security to keep yourself safe online. Be very careful with everything you're doing online. If you're warned by your browser or by Google to not go to a website, treat that seriously. Don't go to that website. Protect yourself at all costs. No one is going to protect you online as well as you can. You are your biggest defense against any dangers online. Okay? So make sure that you are taking all the steps necessary to stay safe. That's it for today. I'm Mr. Devon, your tech guy. Join me for the next video on YouTube.